Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Episode 3, currently known as the Property.ca podcast, but we've officially decided with a name. We are moving into Tales of the Lockbox, Tales from the Lockbox. It's a podcast episode I started a while back. We're bringing it back, Tales from the Lockbox. We're just working on the final branding, so when you look for this podcast online, it will be known as Tales of the Podcast. For those of you who listened to the first 3 episodes of this without our name, thank you. You are original believers. We appreciate you being with us, and hopefully in a couple years from now, when I'm the next Grant Cardone, you'll remember that you were here from the beginning, so thank you. So today we are talking about, unveiling Toronto real estate. And as you know, if you're listening, my name is Josh Benoliel. I am the VP of Sales at Property.ca, also owning Condos.ca. Quick little plug there. If you're listening to this, make sure you jump online today and download the Condos.ca app and the Property.ca app. There are substantial features that are not offered on any of those other real estate apps that you are using. I will not name them, but you know who they are. We have more sophisticated technology and tools. So download the Condos.ca app today. If you're a real estate agent within our company listening to this, please take a minute, even now while you're watching the meeting or listening to the podcast, and go and rate us in the podcast store. Every single rating helps. If you're watching this on YouTube, pop us that thumbs up. It goes a long way. It helps us. Rate the podcast on the podcast channels, wherever you're listening from. Enough of that plug-in. Let's get down to business. We got our guest here today, and his name is Vany.
It's actually Vany.
Vany. Vany.
Tomato,
we'll go
right?
Vany.
Yeah.
So Vany, we're going to get into your quick little story, but you'll give us a little snippet of yourself. For those of you who don't know who you are, or you do, Vany was with us for quite a bit of time. He, like other agents in the past, thought the grass was greener on the other side. He left Property.ca to go look for new horizons. I guess
came running back.
I guess you might have heard the excitement that's been happening within the brokerage. Is that part of it? Like, why don't we just talk about that for a second? Tell us why you left and why you're back quickly.
To be honest, I left because I always thought maybe a brand name could get me further in my career. You know who I'm talking about. And when I left, I slowly realized that a brand name doesn't really matter. All those clients that I had were going to use me anyway. But with no added interest with those companies, they're not really doing anything for me. Whereas at Property.ca, you got a load of features and tech and apps and, hopefully AI in the near future. Obviously, it's the new thing. But technologically, we are way far advanced than any other companies out there, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what brought me back, because I know in the near future, that's where real estate's heading to.
Okay.
And that's where this brokerage is positioned to
Amazing.
be. So that's why I'm back.
Well, welcome back aboard the big ship here. We are in
Yes.
light speed mode forward. And like you said, we're constantly evolving. I think the real estate model has changed from a traditional brokerage model, whereas, 10 years ago, working at a Forest Hill Real Estate or a Harvey Callis Real Estate, having that brand behind you as an agent, that was an important piece in the puzzle,
Right.
being around those people. But in 2023, as the world's evolving so quickly, being at a brokerage that's offering you tech, support, leads, coaching, accountability, and culture, which is what we do very well here. Those are the key things that any real estate agent should be looking for when they're joining a brokerage. And I think that not only have we done that well in the past, we are shifting the way we do that in the future, like things like this podcast and other things that we have going on in the background to make us leaders. So thank you. Welcome back.
Thank you.
We're happy to have you. And we're going to talk
you.
a little bit more about your story as we get towards the end of this and get into the weeds here.
Yep.
But let's talk about some stuff that we got on the meeting here. So first thing, I don't have the numbers on me. We'll check them up. But, you're a top producer. Before you left, I know you're going to be a top producer again while you're here with us, coming in with a lot of energy. How do you stay motivated every week? Like, let's talk to the agents who are listening, who are watching live. What motivates you, Vany?
I think just like any buyer and seller, there needs to be a why, right? If you're going to meet a seller today and they don't have a strong why, most likely they're not going to move, or they're going to be asking a high listing price because their why isn't that great. So if you don't have a strong why, you're going to be unmotivated week in, week out. But if you have a strong why, for me, it's my family.
Okay.
I want to retire my parents. I want to do those things, as well as I want to have nice things, right? So those are my whys, and that's why I stay grounded and motivated every week. And, with me, obviously building out the team and, taking on some masterminds in the Mississauga office. These are all things that I like to do to stay motivated, keep top of mind, because it allows me to stay at the top of my game, whether I'm with other agents or other customers, and it allows me to become great. So.
And you say your family, so personal question, just because that's what we do on a podcast. We get a little
Absolutely.
personal. Are you married? Do you have kids? What's your kind of, just so when you say family,
Yeah.
you mentioned your parents there.
Yeah.
Everyone would love to take care of their parents. Is that
Right.
is that where it kind of stops, or is there further, just to get into the headspace of you a little bit?
Yeah. So I have a girlfriend, but
Okay.
my family is basically my parents. I don't have any kids, but I do have three. I have two nieces, one niece and two nephews. So I'd like to take care of them as well.
Nice.
But I don't have an immediate family, no.
So you want to pull that full Nelk. You want to show up at your parents' house
With the cash,
with
right?
a stack of cash. You want
Yeah.
to show up one day, be like, "Mom, I paid off the mortgage for you.
That's
Dad,
right.
I bought you a brand new Mustang on
Yeah,
the driveway," and just
It's
have
the
them
exact
like
car he
draw
wants,
and drop.
actually, yeah.
Okay, so there you go. See, I'm fucking, I'm
got
on
it.
today, guys. I'm like
You got it.
telepathically already hosting without even hosting. I
There you
love
go.
that. And that's amazing. You need to have a why. You need to identify the why, and it's even with sales. When you're selling something, you need to know why the person's selling. You need to listen
Right.
for those situations.
Right.
I'll tap into an interesting thing here. I watch a lot of motivational things and coaching and all these different things I do. One of the best motivational things I heard recently, which is why we're kind of doing this podcast, why I wanted to get together with people like
Right.
yourself, is because you will become 15% more successful if you spend majority of your time around a top producer. So 15% more successful when you spend your time around a top producer.
Wow.
You will be 50% less successful when you spend time around losers.
Wow.
And not necessarily losers, but not just low performers.
Yep.
So you can just see how by spending a little bit of time
Right.
around the right people and in
Right.
the right environment can drastically change your book of business. And that's where I was really excited to get you on here, because you're taking the initiative to try to push this team forward. Not to say try, you're going to. I know you will, because I know you're a highly motivated individual. But having these masterminds, so people want to hear you're doing something in Mississauga, there's a time to talk. That's a good way to get in the room with somebody like yourself and take that opportunity.
Right.
You're not going to just pick up a phone and I'll just throw Grant Cardone's name out there again,
Yeah.
pick up the phone and start talking to Grant Cardone and be his best friend. But you start surrounding yourself and setting that intention, hey, I'm going to go to some of his sessions, I'm going to go to one of his experiences. You're spending time with that person without thinking like, hey, I don't need to spend it every day. Now, when you come to the office, when you work in a sales environment, it's really important to start spending time with some of our top producers in our company. So
Absolutely.
all the agents who are listening to this, they're saying, how do I get to that next level? How do I break that next zero on my GCI report for the end of the year? It's spend more time with the top producer.
Yeah, I agree.
Right? All right, we'll keep going into here. So these slides are a little sticky, Lucas. We're going to have to figure something out about this situation. Why don't you go to the next one for me? All right, so our next in-office training, let's go back there. We got a little fast. It kind of backlogged there. So our next in-office training, for those of you who are listening, again, if you're not part of our brokerage, we do meetings every Tuesday and we do trainings every Thursday. This Thursday, the one, the only, Adam Linden will be joining us in the office to talk about the riches are in the niches, or the niches, however you want to call it. That's about farming. That's about breaking down that next step above and beyond where you are in claiming online leads, converting leads, and getting into a specific market that you can target, that you can market towards, and that you can define where you're going. And that's interesting segue into what you're doing right now. Why don't you just give us a quick little, minute synopsis of what you're looking to do here, what you're working on?
So I will say one thing, coming from a different brokerage, the training here into very hyper-specific markets is bar none a lot better than those generalized trainings out there. Like having a training like this really helps you double down on what you're doing. Whereas, going to a listing presentation training, it's like, it's so far-fetched. Like we get that already, right?
Yeah.
So
And we
getting
do
into
that too.
hyper stuff like this is really, really important. But what I'm doing is basically a lot of my business is in Simcoe. So it's north, basically Highway 9. You got the Innisfil, Bradford, Barrie. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to build a team out there. Hopefully get it to 15, 20 agents by the end of next year. I had 9 agent interviews this week alone, last week. So it's going really well. And I'm just trying to create a team out there because, our brokerage, we have a few agents up there, but nothing really concrete, which is what I'm trying to grow out there.
You want to be the next Jay McNabb.
There you go. That's what I'm trying to do. Yes, I do know
Don't
him.
step
though.
into the ring with that guy, buddy.
I've seen him. He's a pretty big dude. So.
Jay, you're listening to this, or you catch at one point. You know, one time I was showing one of his condos, and I call him. I go, "Where's the key?" He goes, "Oh man, I'm just doing my weigh-in for my fight, but I'm gonna call you back in 5 minutes." I was like, "Okay, I got it. I guess who I'm up against here."
Well, hopefully me and Jay do a deal soon. So,
yeah. And it's, I do a ton of business in the Simcoe area as also. I have a property in Innisfil, property in Aurelia with my family.
That's where I live, in Innisfil.
So it's a great area. It's growing so quickly. So Thursday, Adam Linden, riches to niche are in the niches. If you want to think about farming and taking your business to that next level, come on in there. Again, I'm going to remind everybody that Thursday, February 29th is the last day that Stratus will exist. So don't be complacent and wait till the last minute to start to use Realm. Like 99.9% of the people listening to this will be. Don't wait till February 28th. Get on that. Start using Realm. It's an incredible platform. I use it on my phone religiously. It's a really great functionality when you're on the road, booking showings, looking for information. It's incredible. So download the Realm app as a step one. Like, get that app as well. A second app today we're plugging, but download that Realm app, get that flowing out there. Also, it's a leap year, so it's either going to be good luck or bad luck. We're going to find out. Let's keep it moving, Lucas.
Got a few extra days to call leads, right?
So, yeah. So, Vany, we got, have you met Miriam yet at the holiday party?
I have. Well, just online. I was supposed to meet her at the Property.ca party, but we didn't end up meeting.
Well, she's in the office on Thursdays.
Okay, sweet.
So that's a good day for any agents who need help with deals in person. Miriam works in this office on Thursday. She'll be here.
Beautiful.
You'll find her here. Miriam is incredible at what she does. She gets hard deals done, especially now we're going up. The interest rates are up. You know, you need somebody to help you cross the line. And you can't just go to the bank. And Miriam prides herself on what she does, continuously helps me close deal after deal, and brings back clients that I brought to her months in the past once the time's ready. So Miriam, I know you're on the call. Why don't you give us the mortgage minute? Let us know what's happening. Last week you missed it, so we didn't talk about the interest rate increase. I know I heard from a couple people. A lot of people are hitting that tipping rate. I forget the word that the trigger rate. Sorry, my brain wasn't working on that. A lot of people are hitting their trigger rates right now. You know, that's some scary stuff. If you have a $1.5 million mortgage that was $6,000 a month and now it's $9,000 a month. What's going on, Miriam? Talk to us.
Scary.
I think what's good is what I kind of spoke about a few weeks ago, and where the banks are being supportive in that sense. So this morning we got a couple of emails already where they're looking to increase amortization. A couple of banks offering a 40-year amortization, 35 and 40 years. That kind of spreading out the mortgage amount, decreasing the monthly payment, making it more affordable so that you're not pushing people into a B lender. And so that was huge news this morning, which was good. We got a lot of emails coming in where 35-year AMs at MCAP and TD also, if anybody has any deals that have gone through or have been approved in the last couple of weeks, they should have either the brokers or, like me, it's simple, it's automatic. All my clients have their files resubmitted so that we can get the new discounted rates on all of them. So TD is offering better rates right now, so on an RSM discount. So for all condos, like right away, you're offered 0.5 for all your clients, but now on top of that, they are being a little bit more aggressive in their margins. So that's looking good. I think what's, I guess the tip that I can give this week above all is just knowing that there are new products. There's a new self-employed income product that with Duca Financial that allows self-employed income. So we can take 6 months bank statements, and on a 4 or a 5 year term, you're no longer paying that 1% lender fee, 1% broker fee, which is great. So we have a lot of different products. I pride myself in the fact that one, your pre-approvals are done within 24 hours. 2, rates are guaranteed up until closing. So if we need to move a lender, that's what we do. So every live offer stays on my desk. We keep your clients in with you. So I think there's a couple on the line that will confirm. I don't know if they're going to speak up, but we did have one specific deal where the client actually wanted to use their boyfriend's realtor. And I pushed and confirmed that she was definitely with the best realtor at Property.ca, and he was able to actually close this deal this week and did a purchase on the weekend, and he ended up keeping the deal, which was good. So that's the idea. I'm keeping in touch. We're keeping it with the realtors. I'm part of your team. And I think that's what a lot of people don't get. When you have someone like me on your team, it's definite bonus all around. So that's pretty much where it stands. Is anybody else? I guess, Josh, do you have any questions?
Yeah, definitely. And I think just that important piece that you said there, when I work with somebody, you're hiring my team. Miriam's part of my team. My lawyer's part of my team. We're a full suite. We work together. We integrate it. So it's important. But a couple things you pointed out there. Number one, the agent that you're talking about, I don't think they did a good enough job getting the client in with them. So we might need to talk about that. But this Duca product that you talked about, so does that work for Prex as well, for all the agents who are listening to this? Like, does that mean like now I can qualify my prec income towards a mortgage, or am I still stuck?
Now there is actually another realtor, another specific, not Duca, but RFA that does do T4A income. So 2 years T4A income. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you've put it through the prec, but if you have a T4A income, you could do that too. For prec income, it's debatable. Some of them are excluding it. So I don't think Duca would do prec.
And okay, cool. And on the side of like, these trigger rate stuff, like, what are you hearing? Like, one of my clients actually called me this weekend and said the bank's foreclosing on their property. They're going into receivership. So, have you heard about this at all? Like, this is obviously a commercial building that's expensive down.
Yeah, the bank, I think pretty much the only people that deal with trigger rates are TD. And from what I know, and I've spoken to, I have like TD BDMs in my office all the time. They don't want to take your house. They don't want to foreclose. They're willing to work with you. I think the majority is you have to push your clients to actually call them and just say, this is my issue. How can I make this work? And they do work with them. They send out multiple emails. So ignoring them isn't good. And obviously, I have calls all the time with clients where I say, just call me back. Let me know what they offered. Josh, but let me know what they offered. Let me see if we can find another option. Let me see if we can find another amortization. Things like 40-year AM may be able to help someone at a different bank.
Definitely. We've done it before together, met multiple times.
Exactly. So you just have to know different strategy options. Like a lot of the clients, I'm just saying them clear out. Tell them you just want to pay interest at this time, and that interest payment just until the rates change. And that's what they do just to keep their property. Okay, interest only payments at this point,
Yeah. Amazing. Any questions? You got anything there? Like,
No, she's pretty much nailed it.
yeah,
so.
and like I've brought in people to Miriam before that have said, oh, I'm working with a mortgage broker, and I said, well, do me a favor, just have a call with my broker.
Second opinion.
You know what I mean? Get that second opinion in there. Yeah. Thank you, Miriam, because like that matters so much, right?
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
They've said, oh, I'm with BMO and this and that. Just get another opinion because she's shopping around to other products. Absolutely. And in some situations, we've actually been able to move the needle to like 100K further because we've done that. So that's amazing.
It's also huge that she's on your team because you've heard so many nightmare stories about agents referring other mortgage agents, and those agents referring them to another realtor, right? I've heard of them like nonstop. So having somebody that's pushing on your side is huge. So
I've only had one scary deal. It's Tales of the Lockbox. I'll give you one quick one here. I've only had one scary deal in my career. It was in the beginning where, it went to a mortgage broker. That mortgage broker pushed certain things to happen. It was like a nightmare. It was closing right before Christmas. It was a complete nightmare situation, and it was all on the back of that mortgage broker.
Right.
After that one deal, I like completely like changed the way I did business from there.
Absolutely.
And like I needed to know exactly what was going on, and it changed.
You need somebody that aligns with your values, with your motive, with your work ethic, right? Otherwise, if he's not answering, if he's not answering his call or every 2 days, like you are, right, or you're not, but you need somebody on your side like that. So
Miriam, I sent her an email.
There was also, I forgot to mention, there was one deal that happened this week that actually the client was on a 5-day COF, and it's a Vaughn realtor who could not close their deal, and he called me and said, Mira, can you reach out to the client? And I said, of course. We redid the deal and found them a place for the mortgage within the 5 days of COF. So I'm here to support, even if I don't win the deal. I help the banks kind of like, it's an all around. I know that this is a support for property. I'm here to like work with everyone. It doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to get every deal, but I'm here to support you, to give you a good, clear picture of the client you're working with.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Miriam. Thank you. We're going to move into the marketing section of today's conversation, which is interesting to see your opinion, Vany, because you're a top producing agent who's definitely done marketing for yourself. You didn't get to that point without doing any marketing,
Right.
and now you're saying you're starting a team, you're having interviews with people. I know you're starting to, but you're interviewing people. So for every agent listening out there, whether it's big, small, or in the middle, giving your piece of advice, tell the camera synopsis. What's your marketing tip? To get people going?
Yeah, so the biggest thing I think now is you see a lot of agents cutting costs because they're not sure if they can sell the listing. But I think now more than ever is where you should spend money on the eye guide, the floor plans. You want to maximize and show your listing to the full potential, because I'm going to tell you 90% of agents are not doing that. They're probably spending money on HDR photos and nothing else, right? But if you have the drone footage, if you have the HDR, you have the floor plans, you have all that, and you maximize your listing versus others, you do the Facebook ads, the Instagram ads, where you're showing other people your listing, no doubt you'll sell it faster than the other person will, right?
Yeah, you got to present your product right now.
Yeah, a lot of people are cutting back costs right now, but I think this is where you should spend the most money, right? People that spend more money in down markets tend to have the upper hand in upper markets, right? Because they'll see their name over and over in the down market. So when they're ready to sell, be like, this guy, I've seen him for the last 2 years. I'm going to call him, right? Or her.
Well, that's why you're a winner, buddy.
Yeah. So
when people are retreating, you double down.
You got to double down.
That's how me and Jeff have always been. Yeah, that's how we always ride.
Yeah, you got to double down. And any top producer you see out there, even in the down market, you start to see their names double, triple, 4 times over, because they're always doubling down on what works, and that's very, very important.
It's an amazing tip.
Yeah.
It really is. And on that topic of kind of media for property.
I want to add something else. So a big thing is look at your deals last year. Take a look at where most of your deals have come from, whether that be Property.ca, whether that be Sphere of Influence, whether that be social media. You want to take the top 2 and double down on those in the slow market, because that's where you're getting your deals from. So spend more time and energy in those 2 things.
Perfect. Incredibly said, absolutely, and having that vision, a plan. But I want to circle back to the media thing you said.
Right.
One of the things I just did differently for a listing that we just brought out is we actually spent the money to do the twilight photos.
Oh, huge.
I don't always do twilight photos, but I got to tell you, moving forward, I think that's going to become a very specific part of my packaging and my marketing.
Right.
A lot of agents don't do it. It costs more money to do it. But when you have a nice house, and we're going to show the listing in a minute.
Especially with pot lights.
With pot lights,
Beautiful.
the twilight photos, and if you market that as your cover photo, you're standing out from the rest, and it just brings people in on a whole nother level. So I really encourage people to think about that twilight photography. Very important piece added on to what you were saying.
Yeah, especially if you go to 5 open houses on a weekend and you have 5 different flyers and one shows twilight, the other 4 don't.
Yeah.
Your eyes are immediately on the twilight.
Out.
It's standing out, right?
Totally.
Just like you should double down. That's another thing you should double down on marketing, right? It's only a couple $100, right?
Just got to do it.
It's worth it. It's worth it. So
you got to pay to play.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so we're in the year-over-year summary again. We talked about this last week. I guess we didn't update this stat so much. Sorry for the Property.ca agents who are live on stream. We're going into the same numbers again, but I actually want to talk about it again, which is interesting because after last week's meeting, I met with some of our top producers, and we were actually talking about the numbers a little bit more in detail.
Right.
And it's interesting to see. I don't know if you caught last week, but let's talk about it a little bit. So year-over-year sales, this is all of GTA on Treb, are up 16.5%.
Okay.
But everyone says that the sky's falling right now.
Yeah.
But we're up over 1,000 transactions more happened in the month of June in 2023 than they happened in 2022.
Yeah.
How can that be if the sky's falling?
I think a lot of people that have money or have a down payment or have a lot of equity in their homes, I think they're all in the market right now. They know interest rates are high. They know home prices are low. And they know historically as interest rates go up, home prices go down.
Yeah.
And they're the people that are going to be making the most money on equity when the interest
100%.
rates go back down, right? So the fish are out there. The investors, the builders, the people with equity, the people that have money, they're all out there buying. The people that are not out there buying are the first-time buyers that are kind of on the sidelines. The people that think the market's going to crash for the last 10 years,
Yeah.
they're always on the sideline, right? the people that are investors, the people that are gonna make money, they're out, and they're out, as you can see with the market going
Yeah.
up. So.
And I mean, that's definitely where it's been at. Like, you know, I work with a lot of people who have cash to buy properties.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing.
Yeah,
We're buying
yeah,
properties
yeah.
right now. We're
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
opportunities. So it's interesting. So sales, the volume of sales were up. The amount of listings was down, though. We know that, though.
Right.
We've seen that happening.
Right.
People are scared. They know that they're not going to get the money they want, so they're holding back.
Right.
Makes sense. Down 12% year over year from June to June. Months of inventory down almost 25%.
Yeah.
Which creates an interesting thing. So now you're kind of at this tipping point, in my opinion, where you have less people putting houses on the market, also less people buying, but the right stuff is selling. And that's
Right.
where you really want to be watching right now, like marketing on point, like you said,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You want to stand out from the crowd. And that's where you got to think about, like, if I'm buying an investment property, I want to buy the right property, not just buy any condo because it's a condo and it's a good deal on it.
Right.
Because good things are selling fast and other things are sitting.
Yeah.
Average price up 3.2% year over year. Good number. We like that.
Good number, of course.
So you got two greens and 3 reds.
Yeah, the people that think the sky's falling, if you see this, it's not really falling. Prices are pretty steady, man. I even in Simcoe, like things are
It depends what.
Yeah.
Be careful what you say. I know this market well.
The crappy bungalows with the crawl spaces that have no basement.
I know this market well.
You know,
Yeah.
they're selling at the 750 range, right? But if you got those good houses, the renovated houses, detached homes in Simcoe that are selling for 950, they're going.
Yeah.
They're going fast.
For sure.
Right? You got the people that are selling in Bradford for 1.2, 1.1, 1.25, and maybe because of the interest rates, they're downsizing. They're moving to Innisfil for 900, right?
Right.
They're saving 300K on their mortgage. So you see that happening a lot.
Yeah.
Even I had a deal in Innisfil now, and they sold their detached home in Bradford for 1.3, and they bought for one, right?
Right, in Innisfil.
In Innisfil.
In a new brand new town.
And yeah, it's a brand new detached, right?
Right, a brand new detached where? Like off
But,
Innisfil Beach Road or one
off
of these.
6th Line and
Yeah.
Maple Road.
Yeah.
So it's right there. It's right
Yeah,
beside the
right
beach.
by my house there.
Yeah. So it's happening. People are selling in Bradford, the Vaughns, and they're moving up north. So that's
Yeah.
why homes are still selling, because people are just downsizing.
Well, everyone always has to move.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what's happening.
Exactly.
People need a place to live.
Right.
And people have issues going on
Right.
that need to move.
Right.
So interesting. Let's just talk about Simcoe for a second. So you talk a lot about Simcoe,
Yeah.
and I think you and I understand that Simcoe isn't just cottage country.
It's not. You
But
got
a lot of
live
people
there.
listening don't know that.
Yeah,
They think
yeah.
Simcoe is where I go on my cottage. But
Yeah.
do you do a lot of cottage stuff, like waterfront properties? What's happening in that market? Because I do a lot of business there,
Right.
and I'm seeing an interesting thing going on in the cottage world right now.
Right.
Like, what do you feel what's happening in cottage land a little bit now that you're the 400 guy? What's going on?
Yeah,
up there?
so I don't really deal with cottages so much. I'm mainly residential.
Yeah.
And that's because I went to 12 different schools growing up. I went to 4 different high schools, 8 different elementary schools. I met a lot of people. I grew up all in Brampton. This is all in Brampton, by
Okay.
the way. But all those people decided to just sprawl out, right?
Yeah.
So I got friends in Alliston and Beaton and Tottenham and in Innisfil.
You got a lot of
So I'm
spheres
dealing,
of influence.
yeah, tons of sphere, and I'm dealing with a lot of small families, right?
Yeah.
People with their first kids, second kids. So I'm dealing with those types of people that want to upsize, first
They
time
want house.
upsizing. They want a house.
They want space.
Their condo, right? So I'm dealing with a lot of those people. With the cottage stuff, I'm not really dealing with that, although I have. Probably not more. That's more your
Yeah.
expertise. So
I love cottages.
Yeah.
I'm a cottage guy. But no, it's interesting. So like my dad's house, which is our cottage that I
Right.
grew up in, now it's his house, we've just built it, is at the end of Mapleview, off the 400.
Near Friday Harbor.
Near Friday Harbor.
Okay.
And it was interesting. I was telling somebody this weekend, I used to drive down that road and it was just country road.
right.
Now you drive down that road, there's a massive high school, there's house subdivisions on both sides.
Everywhere.
It literally looks like you're driving through Thornhill Woods.
Yeah.
Which
yeah,
is so
yeah.
crazy. So there's a lot of homes up there, and it's a great place to move, and they're investing so much. And Barrie's just such a big area. Like when you compare Barrie to Orillia or whatever.
Well, if you see the condo plans in Barrie and where the lake is, they
Yeah.
have like 10, 12 condo proposals, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to be pretty cool to see. What
And the
happens
waterfront
there.
is beautiful
It's-
there. Like
it is
the
beautiful.
condos, I've done a lot of deals in Ellen Street and Toronto Street. Like
Oh.
I know all the buildings downtown in Barrie.
Great value, Alan.
Great, 75 Ellen Street. Great value. at
Crazy,
75.
man.
And 2 Toronto Street. Great
One
value.
bedroom, one parking for like $350.
Yeah,
It's nuts.
especially right now, you
Yeah.
get deals, but you
Yeah.
get this beautiful lake view. And the thing I like about having a property up there is you can actually go in the lake. I'm not a big fan of Lake Ontario, but at Lake Simcoe, you can enjoy
clean.
that
You
waterfront
can
property.
see through.
And And with everyone working remotely right now, like what's the difference, right?
Yeah,
You're in a
yeah.
nice area. Awesome. Let's keep rolling through here and go through some more stuff. So it's some great insight to add to people. We'll wait for this. I think we're a little laggy on the screen thing. So company's got 21 new listings this week at Property.ca. Interesting to see what's happening here. Let's dive into some of them. I think the first one that we're going to talk about is my new listing that I came back out with again, 43 Bernard in Yorkville. We put it up for rent at $25,000 a month. It's also available on, let's go to the next slide, Lucas. It's also available on, one more, on Airbnb, which is great. But beautiful house. Again, here's your twilight photos.
Yeah, huge.
You start to see them come
Especially
up.
something like this, like it's beautiful, man.
Yeah, so this is a
Frames.
gorgeous house. It stands out when you go to
Yeah.
this Victorian, and if the picture was bigger, there's a nice Porsche on the driveway. But there's a fully furnished luxury rental at $25,000 a month.
Right.
Believe it or not, we got inquiries coming in on this thing.
I don't blame you. Yeah, I can
People
see
are
that.
buying, right? So
Yeah.
they want to rent. It's easy.
Yeah.
You move in here, especially coming up to hopefully film festival happens. If this writer's strike ends, in California, people are inquiring about this property. So I thought it'd be interesting to bring up that twilight thing here.
It's huge. It
Yeah.
makes such a difference.
Yeah. Let's keep going here. My buddy Maury down in the North York office. He's been working hard out there. Maury, if you're listening, you're doing a great job. Maury brought a condo out at Bathurst and Shepherd. It's a 2-bed, 2-bath with a parking spot. I think it's over almost 1,000 square feet, if I'm not mistaken. I saw it somewhere. I don't remember right now. At Bathurst and Shepherd, 760 Shepherd Avenue. Quiet boutique building. I don't know if you know these buildings are lower rise buildings. So 611 might be one of the top floors. Great value in a spot like that. What else we got here, Lucas? Go back to it. Yeah.
Lockers on the same floor.
Lockers on the same floor.
That's huge.
A lot of, this is like a lot of like you're in the Bathurst Manor kind of
Yeah.
area. A lot of like right-sizers are moving out of their homes into places like this.
Yeah.
So there's some great stuff, and the maintenance fees are decent on properties like this. So hit up more. What else we got here, Lucas? Our buddy Sean bringing it up into another area up in the neck of the woods in the Vaughan, North York territory. 80s and Tibbies. I grew up in this area. Another big value, 2 bedrooms, $650.
These units are huge at NT. I know this building.
So look at this trend that we're talking about.
Yeah.
I thought we talked about Maury having a listing, 2 bedroom, 2 bathroom, Bathurst and Shepherd, $750. Now Sean Miller's got a listing, $650. Bathurst and Finch, and you're talking about Yonge Street and Ellen and Barrie at like $350 a square foot. So now you want to start getting into the market. You're $350 for a 2-bedroom. Look at that's I think a 1+ den, but
Yeah.
look how much spread you have right now. If you're a first-time buyer getting out into the market,
Right.
you might not be buying your forever home right now.
You're right.
But
Yeah,
get
absolutely.
in.
Get in.
There's an
absolutely.
opportunity now. It might be more expensive than what you thought you were getting, or you might be getting something smaller, but there's an entry point right now.
Absolutely.
You can negotiate. You could put conditions in your offer.
As a first-time buyer, do you have to leave where you're living now? You don't have to leave. Great. Invest in this condo in Barrie. These are what the prices were in March
Let the rent come
2021. And look, this is what you're paying now. Let the rent come in, and look how much money you're going to make.
And the rents are comparable to Toronto and Barrie right now. They're not like
no, they're not.
they're not substantially.
Barrie's pretty good on rent.
Yeah, it's not like it's substantially lower. Like
It's not,
they're somewhat in line.
pretty
there.
similar. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What else we got here, Lucas? So assignments and exclusives. Is this something that you've dealt with? Do you have any experience talking in the assignment world? Have you dealt with that up there, especially maybe in the freehold? I'd love to hear if you have any experience in the freehold assignment situation. I know a lot of these developments up in the areas that you're talking about.
Right.
It's time to get a mortgage on them.
Yeah. So what I do know about assignments is I think in this market, this is where you're going to get the best deals. In this market, the assignment world. You got people that have mortgages coming up. They're 200,000 short. They can't close. If you have a little bit of money or cash laying around, you'll get a couple $100,000 off what the builder's asking with some of these homes. I know that for a fact. Mm-hmm. And then you got all these groups that we have, the exclusive groups on WhatsApp,
Facebook,
on Facebook,
agent groups.
You got these people selling $100,000 below what they bought for 2 years ago.
It's crazy,
right? I've seen a few condos in Vaughan at
Transit City.
Yeah, Transit City. They bought it for $579, $599. They're trying to get rid of them $499. Great way to get into the market, right?
Yeah.
I don't know much about assignments, but I just know that this is probably the best deals that you can get in this market.
Yeah, I definitely agree. If you have cash and you want to pick up a deal right now, unfortunately, there's people who are I hate to say hurting out
They
there,
are hurting.
but they are.
Yeah, they are.
And now's a good time to talk to your realtors, agents who are listening to this, especially our Property.ca agents who are listening. You want to get yourself acclimated with what's happening in the assignment market right now. And you need to adjust your way of talking to your leads that you're coming in with, in touch with that. Maybe they are, you got to understand what their needs are and start to present some of this assignment stuff, because from a price per square foot value or an acquisition price level, there are some incredible opportunities that you're not just seeing face value on MLS, and you really need to understand how they work, what's happening, and how you can present that information to your clients to be the best all-around real estate agent you can be.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah, you're definitely doing a disservice if you're not checking the assignment world for your clients, because there's a lot out there. If they're looking in specific buildings and whatnot, you have to be checking that area. So
Yep, totally.
Have to be.
So let's get into the fun stuff now.
Yeah.
Vany,
Yeah.
why'd you become a real estate agent?
So growing up, I was huge into the nightclub life, right? My brother and I used to own 3 nightclubs.
Wow.
One in Hamilton, 2 in Toronto, called Traffic Pumps Patio, and then one called Hush in Hamilton. So prior to that, I owned an all ages company called UT Events. We used to do like government circa all ages. We did a whole bunch of events. We did events with Much Music, MTV. So growing up into that world, I just met so many people. And I just figured, how am I going to transition knowing this many people to doing what I love? So I got into real estate. And it helped because my brother was also flipping homes at the time. He was into the real estate world. So it helped that family was in it. But that's a big reason, just my network. Right?
It's so funny that you say that, because last week Claire was here,
Yeah.
and we talked about a common theme that happens with women within real estate space, where you go from a bottle service girl to a real estate agent to a breathwork coach. But there's also a male kind of equivalent to that statement,
Right.
where you go from a club promoter to a real estate agent to potentially like an investor.
Right.
And it's funny too. I
Tons of
also
them,
used to be in
tons
the
of
club
them.
world.
Yeah,
Listen,
yeah.
that's what creates this type of
Yeah.
environment. You know,
Right.
I used to run Thursday nights at Cube. Me and my friend now, we'd bring in 150 plus people a
Yeah,
night.
yeah.
You know,
Cube was
there,
fun.
F-stop, everywhere we were running it. So I
Oh, man,
get it.
F-stop
And
was-
it's good days. Yeah. Old F-stop. Miss that place, man.
Yeah.
F-stop was good.
It was good.
And for those of you who don't know, I say
Chevelle
Cube.
on Thursdays?
Cube is a Saluna. That
Oh,
is Cube. That's
right,
what it
right,
is.
right,
So
right.
all these guys, some of our agents, they say, "Oh, I'm at Saluna." Saluna was Cube. We were
Yeah.
it was back, and before that, it was another place. I don't remember the name. The Next Generation. These clubs keep turning over.
Well,
right?
I was in the nightclub scene when Richmond and Peter was the whole strip, right?
Yeah.
You got XS, Lab 332.
Oh, those were the nights,
Metro, This Is London, Bideau.
That's where my hate for gin began.
Embassy, right? Wet Bar. That's where I started clubbing. I was like 14, 15.
Me
right?
too. That's where.
Yeah.
I remember being outside. I think it was Wet Bar, drinking a bottle of gin, like at 15 years old, and going in. And I remember I haven't drinking gin since. Let's just say
I
that
don't like
night.
gin, so it's not my
that night.
favorite. Yeah.
So we'll keep getting into some fun stuff here. So what do you like about being a real estate agent? And I'm assuming you're going to say something about meeting people and putting things together, because that's just kind of the energy that you're pushing off here. But what do you
No,
like?
I do
about
love
being-
meeting people. I do love, meeting clients and friends, even friends that I haven't connected with, like, for a very long time, right? A lot of these people I have on social media, so like Instagram and stuff. So some of them I haven't connected with in 8 to 10 years.
Wow.
And they're messaging me, "Hey, Vany, I've been seeing you online. Are you able to do this and this for me?" I'm like, "Sure," right? But the biggest thing that I love is the freedom, the fact that we could make our own hours, right? And make use of those hours, right? One of my old brokers told me, if I grabbed anybody on the street and I told them, if you made 100 calls a day and I'll give you $100,000 a year, would you come do it? They will beg for you to come and do that job, right?
It's a good deal for both parties.
Yeah, they will beg for you to do
I ain't
that
paying
job.
that much
So-
for somebody to come do that.
I know, but what I'm saying is, if
Yeah.
you was a realtor and
They
you did
want
make
you to
those
do
100
it.
calls a day,
Yeah.
you're
But the
making
realtor
six
ain't
figures.
doing it.
Yeah, but as realtors, we know what we need to be doing, but we don't do it. Why? Because a freedom is a double-edged sword. You're either gonna take it, you're either gonna take one side or the other, but you gotta just make it benefit for you, right? So treat it as a job, treat it as a 9 to 5. Do what you're supposed to be doing within those hours, right? If you do that, there's no reason why you shouldn't be successful.
It's
So
beautifully said.
Yeah.
As realtors, we know what we should be doing, but we don't do it.
we never do it.
And
I don't. Sometimes I don't do it either.
So do I. It's
Yeah.
part of it. But,
part
you know,
of
you
it.
treat it like a 9-to-5 job. I always tell people, oh, you want to make 250 grand a year?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, guess what? Your dentist who makes 250 grand a year doesn't just show up for an hour in a day and make 4 phone calls. He went to school for years.
Right.
He practices all day, every single day,
Yeah.
and he's sweating, bleeding that sort. You want to work for 1-2 hours a day? You're gonna make 50 grand a year, and you can go make my coffee at Starbucks.
Yeah. And those dentists are down $500,000 in fees for their
And
schooling,
offices
right?
and this
yeah,
and
you
that.
don't
Like,
even so much overhead. So.
you want to make the big money, you got to build a business. You're the CEO,
Right.
you're the marketing department, you're the accounting department, you're the admin department, you're the education department, and you're everything. You are a business.
You said it though. A lot of people treat this as a job and not a business, right? People treat this as I'm going to make my money this month and that's it. But if you treat it as a business where you're responsible for the marketing, accounting, and you have all those things in play, you'll look at this business a lot differently if you treat it as a business versus
Totally.
a job. So.
And that like literally leads into the next point, because a lot of the training that we do here is that most people, especially when you have a high volume of leads coming in like we provide our agents with, what happens is that you create an environment where you're working in the business all the time, and that you're never focusing on working on the business.
Right.
And really, to scale to that next level, you need to be focusing on the business a majority of your day, not just working within the business. So that's kind of where I lead it to. So where would you say, Vany, is your advice? You know, if you're a new agent out there, what would be your, like, you know, hot, fast, and dirty kind of point to tell somebody, a new agent, what, you know, how do you win?
You know, I've always said this, even when I was at my last brokerage, I'm like, if I ever started, I would love to be at Property.ca.
Yeah.
Because the amount of leads that we get here and the quality of the leads. I've had the agent locator leads. I've had the Google leads and all those things. I've paid so much money for them, but the quality of the leads at Condos of Property are 100 times better than the leads that you're getting online, right?
They're actual hot leads.
So for any new agent, yeah, they are, and they're warm leads. Like, you're
warm.
talking to them, right? And
They're real.
They're expecting you to call.
And they're having a real conversation. They're not answering the phone being like, what did I click on?
You don't have abcsimcohouses.com, right? You have condos.ca. It has some leverage there, right? Lots of it. So I think for any new agents, I would honestly just do as many leases as you can, because leases are huge when you start off. It'll get you acclimated to the paperwork, to talking to clients, get you good on the phones. And over the next year of you doing that, you'll build your business over time. And all those people will buy in a year, right? So if I was a new agent, I would double down on leases and get my database going.
Totally.
That's what I would do as a new agent.
Amazing. That's a great piece of advice. Couple last questions here to round it off. This has been an incredible conversation. Are you currently reading any books?
Yes, I'm reading 12 Rules of Life by Jordan B. Peterson.
Okay. Oh.
Yes.
Yeah. That's fun. You
Yeah.
like him?
Yeah, he's interesting. He has a lot to say, but you know, I'm a very big believer in hearing what everybody has to say. You know, I don't really shut down people's ideologies. I like hearing them first.
Yeah, you learn.
And based on learning what he has to say and what everybody else has to say, you know, I make my own decision.
Well, you're
right?
gonna pick and piece the pieces that relate to you.
Absolutely, right?
So now that I know that, are you listening or reading?
I'm reading.
Okay.
I'm reading on I have a Kindle.
Good.
Yeah.
So now that I know that you read books, what's the best book what's your favorite book? 2 questions. What's your favorite book, and what's a book that you recommend to all the listeners out there to read or listen to if they haven't read it yet? 2 questions there.
The best book that I've ever read is
Or that you love, that your favorite go-to.
Yeah. How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Okay.
I think that's the best book I've ever read.
Okay.
Why? Because it really teaches you not to talk about yourself and to engage in other people's interests. Because if you're talking about yourself 24/7, people don't really like that, or they get turned off. In our business, you can't really be that guy that's always talking about yourself. So, you know, they always say that you're going to listen twice and talk once, because you have 2 ears. Two ears and one mouth. So I think that's the best book I've ever read.
What was it called again?
How to Win Friends and Influence People.
How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yeah.
We'll put that in the YouTube link for like a clickable download on Amazon
really
as
good
well.
book, yeah.
Okay, and then if you're an agent out there, is that the same book? That's what you would recommend to somebody?
It's huge on the aspect of how to hold a conversation and how to get them to like you.
Love that.
90% of clients or consumers that you'll meet, 90% of the battle is getting them to like you. If they like you, they'll do business with you, period. That's in any sales book you'll ever read, right? If they like you, they'll do business with you. So I think that book really confronts that issue with meeting people, whether it be consumer or client. So
amazing.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of wraps it up for today. This is episode 3, Tales of the Lockbox. Our guest Vany here is, growing rockstar real estate agent. Look out for the 400 group. Is that what it's called?
400 Realty Group.
The 400 Realty Group.
Powered by Property.ca.
You're gonna see it soon around. I guarantee you. You will see this guy's face around. He'll be back on the podcast again in the future.
Yes,
Thank you
sir.
guys for listening from the company on the meeting.
Thank you.
For tuning in, whatever channel you are. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, please hit that like and subscribe button. It goes wonders for us. If you're listening on on a podcast platform, leave us a review. Help us grow this experience so other people can get information like this. I think we brought a ton of value to the people who are listening today. Download the condos.ca app and the property.ca app. They are fantastic for understanding and analyzing real estate on your phone. Thank you guys. Have a great day. Let's get busy selling. Have a good one.
Thank you.